Hello, and welcome. Before we begin tonight's journey, I invite you to find a comfortable position and allow yourself to settle in. Let your body relax into whatever position you're in. There's nothing you need to do right now. This time is just for you. Tonight, I have a gentle story to help guide you toward peaceful sleep. There's no plot to follow, no mystery to solve, just a calm, soothing journey where you're safe, supported, and free to let go completely. As we travel together through tonight's journey, your thoughts may slow, your breathing may deepen, and your body may release the day's tensions. Let it happen. You are exactly where you need to be. Before we begin, if you enjoy these stories, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. It helps us create more peaceful journeys for you and supports this channel in bringing you restful sleep night after night. Now, take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Close your eyes if you haven't already. And let's begin. The train after midnight. A journey through the peaceful night. The train moves through the night at a steady, unchanging pace. It neither hurries nor slows down. There is no urgency in its movement, no hesitation, no uncertainty. It simply continues, following the same track it has followed many times before, countless times in fact. The rails beneath know this journey well. They have guided this train through hundreds of nights just like this one, through thousands of hours of darkness, and they will guide it through hundreds more. The metal remembers. The track remembers. Every joint, every curve, every gentle slope has been traveled so many times that the journey has worn a groove not just in the physical world, but in time itself. The rhythm is ancient and reliable. Wheel upon rail, rail beneath wheel, over and over in perfect repetition, in endless continuation. Outside the window, the dark passes quietly, like a gentle river flowing alongside the train, keeping pace without effort. There are no clear shapes to focus on, only the suggestion of land moving by, soft, undefined, asking nothing of you, demanding nothing of your attention. The world beyond the glass has blurred into shadow and silence, into gentle gradations of darkness that shift from deep black to softer charcoal, to the faintest hint of midnight blue. Occasionally, a distant light appears, perhaps from a farmhouse tucked into a fold of land, or a street lamp standing alone beside an empty road, casting its small circle of illumination into the vast sea of night. These lights flicker into existence for just a moment, glowing softly in the vast darkness, like stars reflected in still water, and then they slip away, disappear again, sliding back into the night without asking for attention, without needing to be remembered or noted or considered. Everything outside is distant. Everything outside is unimportant. Everything outside belongs to a different world, a world that this train is passing through, but not touching, not disturbing. Inside the carriage, the air is calm and still, settled and peaceful. It holds a gentle warmth, neither too hot nor too cold, but exactly the temperature that allows the body to forget itself, to stop monitoring and adjusting, and simply exist. The soft sound of the wheels against the rails forms a gentle rhythm, repeating itself again and again in perfect measure, in metronomic consistency. It is a sound that does not require close attention. It is a sound that asks for nothing, demands nothing, needs nothing from the listener. It can fade into the background, where it belongs, becoming part of the very atmosphere of the night, a lullaby without words, without melody, without beginning or end, just pure, consistent rhythm that has been playing since the journey began and will continue playing until the journey ends. The seats are mostly empty, row after row of them. They stretch down the length of the carriage in patient rows, their fabric soft and slightly worn in the way that makes them more comfortable, not less. Broken in, familiar, welcoming. Each seat waits patiently in the dim light, making no demands, expressing no expectations. They simply exist in readiness, in quiet service. The lights overhead glow softly, dimmed just enough to feel comfortable, creating small pools of amber warmth that barely reach the floor, that fade before they complete their journey downward. Nothing here is bright. Nothing here is harsh or demanding or aggressive. The light knows its place. It exists only to suggest the shape of the space, to provide the gentlest outline of the world inside this moving sanctuary, this capsule of peace traveling through the darkness. Shadows gather in the corners and between the seats, pooling in the spaces beneath armrests, collecting along the edges of the aisle. But they are friendly shadows, the kind that feel protective rather than threatening. They create small pockets of deeper rest, places where the eye can settle without focusing, where consciousness can begin to blur its sharp edges, where the mind can let go of its constant need to define and categorize and understand. One passenger sits by the window, about halfway down the carriage, in a seat that seems to have been waiting specifically for them. They are not doing anything in particular. They are not reading, though there is a book resting on the seat beside them, unopened, forgotten. Its presence merely a companion rather than a task, a possibility rather than an obligation. They are not checking the time, because time has ceased to matter here, has ceased to function in the usual way. The watch on their wrist has stopped being consulted hours ago. The hours have lost their names, their numbers, their meaning. There is only now, this extended, gentle now that stretches in all directions, that has no beginning and promises no end. Their body rests naturally against the seat, supported without effort, held without struggle. The seat knows how to hold them. It has held countless passengers before, supporting them through countless journeys, and it understands the art of support, the physics of comfort, the geometry of rest. The passenger's spine curves softly into the cushioned back, finding the natural curve that the seat offers. Their head finds the perfect angle against the headrest, a position that requires no muscle, no maintenance, no conscious adjustment. The armrest supports their elbow at exactly the right height, as if it has been measured precisely for this body, this arm, this moment. Everything has aligned without conscious arrangement, without intention, simply falling into place the way water finds its level. The window beside them reflects faint interior light, blending it seamlessly with the darkness outside, creating a threshold between two worlds, the lit world of the carriage and the dark world beyond. But really, they are the same world, just different expressions of the same reality. The glass is barely noticeable, barely there. There is no barrier here, just a gentle membrane between inside and outside, between motion and stillness, between waking and sleeping, between consciousness and dreams. There is no need to look closely at anything. There is nothing important to see, nothing that requires attention or analysis or contemplation. The passenger's breathing is slow and even, like waves reaching a quiet shore far from any storm, far from any disturbance. Each breath arrives on its own, without invitation, without effort, filling the lungs with clean, calm air that tastes faintly of night and distance. And each breath leaves the same way, departing as gently as it arrived, carrying with it any remnant of tension, any fragment of the day that still clings to consciousness, any worry or thought or concern that has not yet dissolved into the peaceful darkness. There is no need to guide the breathing. The body knows this ancient rhythm. It has been breathing since the very first moment of life, and it will continue breathing now, reliably, peacefully, perfectly, without any assistance from the conscious mind, without any need for management or control. In and out, in and out. like the train itself, like the wheels upon the rails, like the passing of the dark landscape outside. The breath has found its perfect rhythm, its ideal pace. The train continues through the darkness, pulling its length through the night like a needle pulling thread through fabric. The motion is smooth and predictable, almost impossibly smooth, as if the rails beneath have been polished to absolute perfection by the passing of countless wheels over countless years. Each section of track follows the last, creating a quiet sense of continuity that wraps around everything like a soft blanket, like a gentle embrace. Nothing changes suddenly. Nothing unexpected happens. There are no sharp curves here, no sudden jolts or corrections or surprises. The journey unfolds exactly as it should, exactly as it has been designed to unfold, with the patient wisdom of engineers who understood that some journeys are not about arriving, but about traveling, not about the destination, but about the passage itself. The wheels turn beneath the floor, steady and eternal, tireless and patient. Somewhere further down the carriage, a door remains closed, separating this space from the next, creating a gentle boundary. Beyond it, more empty seats wait in silence, patient and understanding, ready for passengers who may never come, at least not tonight. The entire train feels settled, as if it has already decided how the rest of the night will unfold, as if the outcome has already been determined and there is nothing to do but allow it to happen. There is no debate here, no uncertainty, no question about what comes next. The train knows its purpose. It exists to carry, to move, to provide this cocoon of gentle motion through the vast stillness of the night, to be a moving sanctuary for those who need refuge from the demands of the waking world. And it performs this purpose perfectly, without ego, without pride, without expectation of recognition or reward, simply because this is what it is meant to do, what it was built to do, what it has always done and will always do. The passenger shifts slightly, making a small adjustment, a minor refinement, finding a more comfortable position. His shoulders relax even further, releasing a tension they didn't know they were holding, letting go of a tightness that has been there for so long it had started to feel normal. The muscles across their back let go, softening into the support beneath them, trusting the seat to hold them, surrendering weight and worry both. Their hands rest where they naturally fall, one on their lap, the other on the armrest, both loose and open, fingers uncurled, palms soft. There is no gripping here, no holding on, no clenching or clutching or grasping. No destination needs to be remembered right now. No schedule needs to be followed or checked or worried about or considered. The train knows where it is going, and that is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything. Outside, the night remains wide and uninterrupted, stretching in all directions like a dark ocean without shores, without boundaries, without limits. Fields pass by in the darkness, though they cannot be seen, only sensed, only imagined, only known to exist somewhere out there in the blackness. There might be wheat there, or grass, or corn standing in silent rows, or fallow earth resting between seasons, gathering strength for the next planting. Small towns appear as barely there clusters of light on the horizon, distant constellations of street lamps and porch lights, and the occasional lit window, then slip away behind, receding into memory and then beyond memory, their names unknown and unnecessary, their stories untold and unconsidered. Roads cross beneath the train on invisible bridges, leading to places that need not be considered, carrying cars that are not there, at least not now, not in this deep hour after midnight when even the roads rest, when even the pavement dreams of somewhere else. Everything beyond the window seems distant and unimportant, as if the train is traveling not just through space, but through layers of relevance, moving further and further from the things that usually claim attention, descending through strata of significance into a deeper realm of existence where only the most essential things remain. Breath, heartbeat, the gentle rocking motion, the soft sound of wheels on rails, the warmth of the body, the beating of blood through veins, the quiet persistence of being itself. The sound of the train remains constant, unchanging, eternal. A low, steady presence that fills the space gently, without pushing, without insisting, without demanding acknowledgement. It is there, solid and reliable, but it does not demand to be heard, does not require attention. It simply exists, like breathing, like the beating of a heart, like the turning of the earth, something so fundamental it can be forgotten even while it continues, something so essential it becomes invisible through its very constancy. The rhythm is hypnotic, but not intentionally so. It does not try to hypnotize. It is simply itself, existing in its own nature, and in being itself completely, it creates this effect naturally, inevitably. The way a stream creates the sound of flowing water, the way wind creates the whisper of leaves, the way rain creates the patter on rooftops. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack.
Though even that description is too sharp, too defined, too articulated. The actual sound is softer, more blended, less like distinct syllables, and more like a continuous murmur, a mechanical purr, a lullaby sung in the language of steel and motion and engineering precision. A few moments pass in perfect stillness. Then, somewhere in the distance, the train's whistle sounds, low and mournful, but not sad. It is a sound that acknowledges the night, that speaks to the darkness, that announces the train's presence to the empty countryside. The sound rises and falls, traveling across fields and through valleys, reaching farmhouses where people sleep and forests where deer stand motionless. It is a beautiful sound, ancient and familiar, the voice of journeys and arrivals, of departures and returns. The whistle fades slowly, dissolving into the night like sugar into warm water, leaving only silence in its wake. The passenger hears it, registers it somewhere in the deepening layers of consciousness, but does not react. It is simply part of the journey, part of the night, part of this experience of being carried through darkness toward rest. The passenger's eyes close, not because they decide to close them, not through any act of will or intention or choice, but because there is no reason to keep them open, no purpose in maintaining vigilance. What would they see if they kept them open? The same gentle shadows, the same soft light, the same window reflecting the same quiet scene, the same empty seats stretching away into dimness. The eyes have done their work for the day. They have taken in all the sights that needed to be seen, processed all the visual information that required processing. Now they deserve rest. Now they have earned closure. The darkness behind closed eyelids feels familiar and safe, like returning to a room one has known since childhood, like coming home after a long journey. It is not the darkness of uncertainty or fear or the unknown. It is the darkness of peace, of letting go, of allowing the world to continue without constant observation, without perpetual monitoring. The train does not need to be watched to keep moving. The night does not need to be monitored to keep passing. The journey does not need to be supervised to continue unfolding. Everything will continue exactly as it should, whether the eyes are open or closed, whether consciousness watches or allows itself to drift. Time moves differently here, on this train after midnight, in this liminal space between places. Minutes stretch softly, losing their usual rigid boundaries, their typical definition. A minute might last a moment or an hour. There is no way to tell, and no reason to try, no benefit in measuring or tracking or counting. The usual markers of time have been left behind, back at the station where this journey began, whenever that was. Was it an hour ago? 3 hours? 6? It doesn't matter. It cannot matter. Time has become elastic, dreamlike, responsive to the rhythm of the train rather than to the ticking of clocks, flowing at its own pace rather than marching to the beat of hours and minutes and seconds. There is no need to measure time here, no need to parcel it out or ration it or track its passing or worry about its expenditure.
It simply flows, like the darkness outside, like the steady motion of the train, like breath through lungs, moving forward but feeling almost like stillness, like a perfect balance between movement and rest, between going and staying, between journey and arrival. The temperature in the carriage shifts slightly, becoming even more perfect, even more comfortable. It is as if the train itself is paying attention to the passenger's needs, adjusting the warmth to exactly the right degree, creating an environment that supports rest at every level. The air feels soft against the skin, gentle against the face, neither too dry nor too humid, but perfectly balanced, perfectly calibrated for comfort and ease. A slight vibration travels through the floor as the train crosses a junction, where tracks merge and separate, where different routes diverge and converge. It is the gentlest of sensations, barely noticeable, just a subtle shift in the rhythm, a momentary variation in the pattern. But even this small change is soothing rather than disturbing. It reminds the passenger that the journey continues, that progress is being made, that the train is navigating its chosen path with precision and care. The junction passes. The rhythm returns to its previous constancy. Everything settles back into the familiar pattern. The train keeps going, pulling its weight and its passengers through the sleeping world with effortless power. Its movement carries everything forward without effort, without strain, without any sense of difficulty or struggle. The engine somewhere ahead, far ahead, out of sight, almost out of mind, existing in some other part of this long metal creature, does its work quietly, powerfully, asking for no recognition, expecting no gratitude. The cars follow in perfect sequence, linked together in an unbreakable chain of purpose, each one connected to the next in mechanical solidarity. Each wheel turns in its appointed place, in its designated position. Each rail accepts the weight and passes it along to the next in perfect cooperation, in seamless transfer. The passenger does not have to participate in any of this. They do not have to help the train move. They do not have to steer or navigate or make decisions or solve problems or plan routes or consider options. They are already being carried. The work is already being done. The journey is already happening. All they have to do, all they are invited to do, all they are required to do is rest. Simply rest. Nothing more than rest. The seat supports their weight completely, asking nothing in return, expecting no payment, requiring no gratitude. The carriage holds its quiet shape around them, a protective shell moving through the night, a fortress of solitude, a sanctuary of peace. The rails guide the path ahead, making all the necessary choices, taking all the necessary turns, handling all the decisions that need to be handled. The passenger is free from responsibility, free from choice, free from effort, free from the burden of navigation and the weight of decision-making. Nothing is required. Not thought, not attention, not vigilance. Not even wakefulness is required. Outside, a light rain begins to fall, so gentle it makes almost no sound at first. Then, gradually, the soft patter of drops against the windows becomes audible, a delicate percussion, a whispered accompaniment to the rhythm of the wheels. The rain does not fall heavily. It does not pound or drum or demand attention. It simply falls, softly and steadily, adding another layer to the symphony of the night, another voice to the chorus of peaceful sounds. The raindrops trace paths down the window glass, catching the faint interior light, creating tiny rivers of illumination that flow downward and disappear. The passenger, eyes still closed, hears the rain and feels its presence without seeing it, without needing to see it. The sound is soothing, familiar, the sound of countless nights, of childhood bedrooms and safe houses, and moments of shelter from the storm. But this is not a storm. This is just rain, gentle and kind, washing the world clean, refreshing the earth, bringing life to growing things in the fields that pass unseen in the darkness. The rain continues for several minutes, or perhaps for much longer. Again, time refuses to be measured here, refuses to be contained in conventional units. The sound becomes part of everything else, woven into the fabric of the journey, inseparable from the clicking of wheels and the warmth of the air and the support of the seat. And then, as gently as it began, the rain fades away. The last drops fall. The sound diminishes to silence. The window clears gradually, though there is still nothing to see beyond it, except the same darkness, the same suggestion of landscape, the same vast and peaceful night. The night outside grows deeper, though it makes little difference inside the train, little impact on the interior world. The interior remains unchanged, stable and calm, existing in its own reality. It exists in its own pocket of space and time, a small world unto itself, traveling through the larger world, but somehow separate from it, protected from it, insulated from its demands and changes and variations. In here, it is always this exact level of dim light, always this exact temperature, always this exact degree of quiet, always this exact quality of peace. The constancy is soothing beyond measure, beyond description, beyond the ability of words to capture. The passenger's breathing becomes slightly slower, imperceptibly slower, each breath taking a fraction of a second longer than the one before. Not on purpose, not through any technique or practice or intentional effort, just naturally, organically, as the body settles deeper into its own rhythm, finding its own perfect pace, discovering the breath that belongs to sleep rather than to waking. The chest rises and falls like gentle swells on a calm sea, like waves on the most peaceful shore imaginable. The belly softens, releasing its usual tension. The muscles around the ribs release their careful management of each breath and allow something older and wiser to take over. The autonomic rhythm that has been breathing bodies since the beginning of life itself, since the first organism drew in what it needed and released what it didn't.
Thoughts, if they appear at all, do not stay long, do not linger or insist. They drift through consciousness like clouds across a night sky, noticed briefly, acknowledged perhaps, then gone, dissolving back into the darkness from which they came, returning to the void that created them. A thought about tomorrow, a memory from yesterday, a fragment of a conversation that happened last week or last year, a fleeting image of a face or a place. None of them stick. None of them anchor themselves. None of them matter enough to hold attention, to create concern, to generate interest. They are just passing phenomena, weather in the landscape of the mind. And the mind watches them pass without attachment, without engagement, without needing to grab onto them or push them away. There is no need to think here. The train is doing all the necessary work. The journey is taking care of itself. The passenger can simply be, can simply exist, can simply continue breathing and resting and allowing. Somewhere far ahead, the train passes through a small tunnel carved through a hill. The sound changes for a moment, becoming slightly more enclosed, slightly more resonant, as if the train is moving through a different kind of space. The walls of the tunnel are close but invisible, surrounding the train on all sides, creating a temporary cocoon within the larger cocoon of the night. The echoes are soft and muffled, cushioned by distance and darkness. And then the tunnel is behind them, left in the past, and the train emerges back into the open night, back into the vast expanse of air and sky and sleeping land. The sound returns to its previous quality, open and free, carrying across fields and through forests. The passenger barely notices this transition. It is simply another variation in the journey, another small event that requires no response, no acknowledgement, no conscious processing. The train moves on through the endless night, through the vast quiet, through the sleeping countryside that stretches in all directions. There are no announcements from any speaker, no tinny voice disrupting the peace to mention upcoming stops or platform numbers or connections or delays. There are no conversations drifting from other seats because the other seats are empty, or because the other passengers, if they exist at all, if they are more than ghosts or dreams themselves, understand the unspoken rule of this journey, that silence is sacred here, that this is a space for rest, not for words, not for interaction, not for the usual commerce of human society. No interruptions disturb the steady progression of this journey. No disturbances break the spell of peace that has settled over everything. Only the ongoing motion, steady and reliable as a heartbeat, as predictable as the tide, as constant as the turning of the earth. The motion that requires nothing and gives everything. The motion that rocks like a cradle, that soothes like a hand stroking hair, that comforts like a familiar presence in a dark room, like a parent watching over a sleeping child. The passenger rests within that motion, held by it, supported by it, carried by it through the darkness towards some destination that doesn't need to be named. Their body has surrendered completely to the seat, to the gentle swaying, to the forward pull of the journey. Their muscles have released all unnecessary tension, all the chronic tightness that accumulates through days and weeks and years. Their jaw has loosened, unclenching after hours of unconscious tension. Their forehead has smoothed, the furrows between eyebrows fading away. Even the small muscles around the eyes have let go, allowing the eyelids to rest softly, naturally, without the slightest flutter or tension or movement. The hands, resting on lap and armrest, have grown warmer as blood flows freely through relaxed vessels, nourishing the fingers, warming the palms. There is no coldness here, no tension that restricts circulation. The body has entered a state of perfect rest, of ideal relaxation, where every system can function as it was designed to function, where healing and restoration can occur without interference. A slight curve in the track ahead causes the train to lean gently,
almost imperceptibly, to one side. The passenger's body responds naturally, effortlessly, maintaining balance without any conscious thought, without any deliberate adjustment. The inner ear manages everything automatically, the way it has managed balance since infancy, since those first attempts to stand and walk. The lean is so gentle, so gradual, that it feels more like a caress than a movement, more like the train is cradling the passenger than tilting them. The curve straightens, the train returns to level. The journey continues in its eternal rhythm. They do not need to stay awake to make sure the train continues. They do not need to monitor the journey or check the progress or maintain vigilance or keep watch. It will continue on its own, as it has continued for years, for decades, as it will continue long after this night has passed into memory, and then beyond memory into the forgotten realm where all peaceful nights eventually rest, where all gentle journeys eventually fade into the general background of a life lived. Outside, the darkness remains complete and absolute. No dawn threatens the horizon. No light intrudes on this perfect suspension in the deep heart of night, in the very center of darkness. The world sleeps, and the train moves through that sleeping world like a dream moving through a dreamer's mind, quietly, purposefully, leaving no trace, disturbing nothing, asking for nothing. The stars above, hidden behind clouds or simply invisible in the depth of night, continue their ancient paths across the sky. Constellations wheel overhead, unseen but present, marking time in their own way, a way that has nothing to do with clocks or schedules or human concerns. The universe continues its slow dance, and the train is part of that dance, moving in harmony with forces larger than itself, participating in patterns older than memory. Inside, everything is quiet and settled and still. The air has grown still warmer, wrapping around the passenger like the gentlest embrace, like arms that hold without constraining, like a presence that comforts without demanding. The sound of the wheels has become so familiar it has ceased to be a sound at all. It has become simply the texture of this space, the medium through which existence happens here. Like water to a fish, like air to a bird, so fundamental it becomes invisible. The passenger's head tilts slightly, finding an even better angle against the headrest, settling even more deeply into comfort. Their breathing has slowed even more, each breath now a long, peaceful wave, each exhale a letting go of something that was never really needed anyway, never really essential, never really part of what matters. The spaces between breaths have grown longer, but there is no concern in these pauses, only peace, only the natural rhythm finding its deepest expression, its most authentic form. The heartbeat too has slowed, finding its resting rhythm, the pace it prefers when the body is safe and supported and free from stress. Each beat is strong and steady, reliable and sure, pumping life through vessels and organs, nourishing cells, carrying oxygen and nutrients to where they are needed, removing waste, maintaining balance. The heart knows its work and does it perfectly, asking for nothing, working tirelessly in service to life itself. Far ahead, another train passes on a parallel track, going in the opposite direction. For a brief moment, there is a sense of presence, of companionship, of another journey happening simultaneously. The two trains acknowledge each other in the way that trains do, not with words or signals, but simply by existing, by sharing this moment in the vast night, by crossing paths in the darkness. And then the other train is gone, disappearing into distance and darkness, continuing its own journey to its own destination, carrying its own passengers toward their own rest or their own waking. The passenger does not see this other train. Eyes closed, deep in the layers between waking and sleeping, they are aware only of the continuity of their own journey, the ongoing rhythm that has become their entire world. The train keeps going through the night exactly as it should, exactly as it must, exactly as it will continue to do long after this passenger has reached their destination. Mile after mile, minute after minute, breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat. Everything continues in perfect harmony, the motion and the stillness, the darkness and the soft light, the journey and the rest. There is no contradiction here. There is no conflict between these things. The train can move forward while the passenger moves deeper inward. Both journeys are real. Both journeys are valid. Both journeys are unfolding exactly as they are meant to unfold, exactly as they have always unfolded, exactly as they will always unfold on this eternal train through this eternal night. And the passenger rests, carried gently forward through the peaceful night, with nothing left to do, nothing left to accomplish, nothing left to prove or achieve or become.
No decisions to make, no problems to solve, no place to be except exactly here, exactly now, in this seat, on this train, in this perfect moment that stretches backward into the past and forward into the future, existing somehow outside of time while moving through it, being both still and in motion, both awake and asleep, both present and drifting away. The wheels turn beneath, carrying everything forward with infinite patience. The rails guide from below, choosing the path with ancient wisdom. The night wraps around from all sides, protective and complete, embracing everything in its vast and peaceful darkness. And in the center of it all, in the warm, dim, gently swaying carriage, one passenger rests, breathing slowly, thinking of nothing in particular, needing nothing at all, wanting nothing more than this, becoming as peaceful and steady as the train itself, becoming one with the journey, becoming one with the night, becoming one with the gentle, irresistible pull toward sleep, toward dreams, toward the deep rest that heals and renews and restores. The train knows where it is going. The train has always known. The passenger does not need to know, does not need to wonder, does not need to think about it at all, or concern themselves with destinations or arrivals or what comes next. They are being carried toward rest, toward peace, toward the deepest sleep, toward a place where worries cannot follow and stress cannot reach, and all they have to do is allow it to happen, allow themselves to be carried, allow themselves to let go, allow themselves to sink deeper and deeper into this perfect moment of peace. The motion continues, endless and patient, tireless and gentle. The darkness outside remains soft and complete, velvet and kind. The breathing slows to its most natural rhythm, to the pace of deep sleep, of complete rest. And somewhere in the gentle space between waking and sleeping, between traveling and arriving, between the soft light of the carriage and the welcoming darkness beyond, between consciousness and dreams, between effort and surrender, the passenger finally, completely, peacefully lets go. Lets go of the day. Lets go of tomorrow. Lets go of every thought and worry and plan and concern. The body relaxes completely, held perfectly by the seat, by the motion, by the night itself. The mind quiets, releasing its grip on awareness, allowing consciousness to dissolve into the peaceful darkness like a drop of ink in an ocean of water. The train moves on through the night, carrying its precious cargo of rest and peace and gentle dreams. And all is well. All is quiet. All is exactly as it should be. The journey continues. The night deepens. The rest becomes complete. And in the morning, whenever morning comes, if it comes at all, the passenger will wake refreshed, renewed, restored. But for now, there is only this: the gentle rocking, the soft sound, the warm darkness, the peaceful breath, the eternal journey through the night. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more exists. There is only rest, only peace, only the deep and healing sleep that comes to those who surrender to the journey, who trust the train to carry them, who allow the night to embrace them. The wheels turn, the rails guide, the darkness holds, and the passenger sleeps, safe and supported, carried gently through the peaceful night toward the new day that waits somewhere beyond the horizon, somewhere in a future that does not need to be considered now. For now, there is only sleep, only rest, only peace. Rest now, traveler. The journey continues while you sleep. The train knows the way. You need only rest and allow yourself to be carried through this peaceful night into the deepest, most restorative sleep. Safe, supported, at peace. Let the rhythm of the wheels carry you deeper. Let the warmth surround you. Let sleep come as gently as the night, as naturally as breathing. Rest now. Rest completely. All is well.